There's a moment. You know the one. Your name gets said out loud. The room turns. Every head, slow like sunflowers following the sun, swivels toward you. And before you've even opened your mouth, your body has already decided that something terrible is about to happen. Your heart doesn't speed up gently. It slams, like it's trying to get out. Your mouth goes dry instantly, as if someone reached in and turned off a tap. Your hands get cold and your palms get wet at the same time, which makes no sense. And your knees do this little electric tremble. And there's this awful narrowing of the world where suddenly you can't see the kind faces in the back, only the eyes, all the eyes, pointed at you like a row of little spotlights. And here's the part that should stop you cold. Nobody is threatening you. Nobody has a weapon. There's no cliff, no fire, no animal with teeth. There is, at most, a slideshow and a lukewarm glass of water. So why is your body acting like it's about to die? That's the question I want to sit with you on tonight, because the answer goes back further than you'd ever guess. Way back. Back before cities, before language as we know it, before any of this. And once you understand what's actually happening inside you in that moment, it changes the whole thing. It stops being shameful. It starts being kind of beautiful. I'm going to walk you through exactly what your body does and why, piece by piece. And I'll tell you up front, there's a part of this story, near the end, that genuinely unsettled me when I first understood it. There's a reason surveys keep finding that a lot of people would rather face almost anything than stand up and speak. A reason your brain, in that moment, treats it as something close to a matter of life and death. We'll get there, and once we do, I'll show you the one small mental flip that can take all that terror and turn it into fuel. Stay with me. It's worth it. Let's start with your body, because your body is the loudest part of this, and it's lying to you in the most convincing way possible. Think back to the last time you had to speak. Not necessarily a big stage. Maybe it was just going around the table and saying your name. Maybe it was a toast, a question in a meeting, a moment where, for 30 seconds, you were the one everyone looked at. Run the checklist. The pounding heart. The breath that suddenly feels too shallow, like you can't get a full one in. The shaking. Your voice doing that thin little wobble that you can hear, and you're sure everyone else can hear too. The sweating. The dry mouth. Maybe a tightness in the gut. A flutter. A feeling like your stomach dropped through the floor. Here's the thing. Every single one of those is not random. Every one of them is your body preparing very efficiently for a fight or for a sprint. Scientists have a name for this. They call it the fight or flight response. It's a switch deep in your nervous system, and when it flips, your whole body reorganizes itself in under a second for one purpose: to survive a physical emergency. Your heart pounds because it's pumping blood to your big muscles fast so you can run or swing. Your breath goes shallow and quick because you're loading up on oxygen. Your mouth goes dry because, in an emergency, your body shuts down digestion. It's not the time to be making spit and stomach acid. It's the time to move. That's also that dropped stomach feeling. That's your digestion slamming the brakes mid-task. Your hands get cold because blood is being pulled away from your skin and your fingers and sent to your core and your thighs, where you'll need it. And the shaking? That's your muscles, flooded with fuel, twitching and primed, ready to explode into action that never comes. So your body is doing something genuinely impressive. It's mounting a full-scale survival response, the kind that once saved lives. It's just doing it at completely the wrong time, against completely the wrong threat. It's bringing a spear to a board meeting. But that raises a strange question, doesn't it? If there's no real danger, who exactly gave the order? Who looked at the room and decided this was an emergency? because it wasn't you, not the thinking you. The thinking you knows it's fine. The thinking you has rehearsed. The thinking you can clearly see these are colleagues, classmates, friends, people who like you. And yet, the alarm went off anyway, before you could stop it. That's because the alarm doesn't run through the thinking part of your brain at all. Deep in the middle of your head, tucked away on each side, there are two little clusters of cells, each about the size and shape of an almond. They're called the amygdala. And one of the main jobs of the amygdala is to be your smoke detector. Its entire purpose is to scan everything coming in through your senses and ask one question, over and over, thousands of times a day. Is this a threat? And here's what makes it so powerful and so unreasonable. It's fast, insanely fast, faster than thought. When something flashes in front of you, the amygdala can react in less than a fraction of a second, long before the slow, careful, reasoning part of your brain is even finished looking. It has to be that fast, because, for your ancestors, the difference between reacting in a fraction of a second and reacting in a full second was the difference between living and being eaten. So the amygdala is brilliant at speed, but it pays for that speed with stupidity. It cannot tell the difference between things that are actually dangerous and things that just look like things that used to be dangerous. It's a smoke detector. It doesn't know the difference between a house fire and burnt toast. It just screams. And to your amygdala, a room full of faces all turned toward you, watching, silent, waiting, looks an awful lot like one of the most dangerous situations a creature like you could ever be in. Which brings us to the eyes. Because I want you to really feel this next part. Why is it so much worse when people look at you? You can talk for hours to a friend, easy, relaxed. Put 20 strangers in chairs facing you in silence, and your throat closes. What changed? The words didn't. The room did. Specifically, the eyes did. Think about the natural world for a second. Think about what it means, out in the wild, to suddenly find many eyes fixed on you all at once. It means one of two things, and neither is good. Either you are surrounded by predators, or you are surrounded, and about to be attacked, by your own kind. For animals that live in groups, including us, including our cousins, the other primates, a direct stare is not a neutral thing. A long, hard, direct stare is a threat. It's a challenge. Among monkeys and apes, locking eyes is how you square up before a fight. Looking away is how you say, I don't want trouble. So when a whole crowd locks their eyes onto you and holds, some very old part of your brain reads that not as an audience. It reads it as a standoff, as being cornered, as every single one of these creatures has decided to focus on me, specifically, and that has historically meant I am about to be in serious trouble. That's the tunnel vision. That's why the room narrows down to just the eyes. Your brain is doing exactly what it would do if you were surrounded by something with teeth. It's locking onto the threat and blurring out everything else. So now we've got a body in full emergency mode, an alarm system that fired before you could think, and a crowd of eyes that your oldest instincts read as a pack of predators. And you might be thinking, okay, but I still know it's not real. There are no predators. There's just Karen from accounting and a guy eating a sandwich. Why won't the feeling go away just because I know better? And this is where we go all the way down. This is the root of the whole thing. Because the real reason public speaking terrifies us has almost nothing to do with predators. It has to do with something much closer to home. Something we still live with every single day. It has to do with the tribe. For almost the entire history of our species, for tens of thousands of years, for nearly all of it, human beings did not live in cities or towns or even villages. We lived in small groups, bands of a few dozen people, maybe. Everybody knew everybody. You were born into this group. You hunted and gathered with this group. You slept beside this group. You grew old, if you were lucky, in this group. These were not just your friends. This was your entire world. Your food came from this group. Your safety at night came from this group. When you got sick or hurt, the only hands that would care for you belonged to this group. Now ask yourself the most important question of the whole night. What happened to a person who got cast out of that group? Not killed, just sent away, exiled, told, "You are no longer one of us." They died. Almost always, they died. Alone, out there, with no one to share food, no one to watch for danger while you slept, no one to help when you fell ill. A single human being was a soft, slow, clawless, fangless animal that other animals found delicious. Being thrown out of the tribe wasn't an insult. It wasn't hurt feelings. It was, very often, a death sentence, just a slower one than the lion's. So sit with what that means across thousands and thousands of generations. The people who survived to become your ancestors were not the bold ones who didn't care what the group thought. They were the ones who cared desperately. The ones for whom the mere possibility of being rejected by the group set off every alarm bell in their body. The ones who would do almost anything to stay accepted, to fit in, to not be the one everybody turns against. That terror of rejection? That was a survival tool. It kept your ancestors glued to the group that kept them alive. And you inherited it. Every one of us did. It's baked in. Here's the proof that should give you chills. Scientists put people inside brain scanners and had them play a simple little game, tossing a ball back and forth with two other players. And then, partway through, the other two players stopped throwing the ball to them. That's it. That's the whole cruelty. Just two strangers in a game, leaving someone out. And when they looked at what lit up in the brains of the people being excluded, they found something extraordinary. The brain regions that flared up were some of the very same ones that fire when you're in physical pain. The actual pain network. Read that again. Being left out doesn't just feel like pain as a figure of speech. To your brain, on a deep wiring level, social rejection and a physical injury are processed in overlapping places. Your brain treats being excluded as a kind of wound. Because for most of our history, it was a wound. It was the beginning of dying. So now look back at that moment we started with. You, standing up, the room turned toward you, all those eyes. What is your deep brain actually afraid of? Not the words, not even really the staring, not at the bottom of it. It's afraid that you'll fail in front of the group, that you'll say the wrong thing or freeze or look foolish, and the tribe will judge you and find you wanting and turn away from you. And to the oldest part of your mind, being judged and rejected by the group isn't embarrassing. It's lethal. It is, quite literally, an old echo of exile, of being cast out to die. That's why you can't just think your way out of it. The fear isn't living in the thinking part of your brain. It's living in the part that's certain, with every fiber, that the approval of these people is the difference between life and death. Because once upon a time, it was. And now I want to show you what that ancient circuit does to you in real time. Because it doesn't just make you nervous. In its worst moments, it reaches up into your mind and switches off the very thing you need most. I'm talking about the blank. You know the blank. You're up there. You've got your 3 points. You start your sentence and then nothing. The words are gone. You can feel the shape of where the thought was supposed to be, like reaching into your pocket for keys that aren't there. Your mind is suddenly a smooth white wall, and the harder you grab for it, the smoother the wall gets. People walk away from that moment so ashamed. They think, I'm an idiot. I knew this cold. What is wrong with me? And the answer is, nothing is wrong with you. What you experienced is one of the most ancient and dramatic features of how a brain survives danger. When your fight or flight alarm really fires, when the amygdala is screaming, your body floods with stress chemicals, adrenaline and cortisol among them. And one of the regions those chemicals act on, hard, is the front of your brain, right behind your forehead. That region is the planner, the reasoner, the part that holds a complicated thought together, that remembers your structure, that picks the careful word, that imagines the future. It's the most recently evolved, most sophisticated part of you. And it is also, when an emergency hits, the first part to get shoved aside. Because think about it from your ancestors' point of view. If a predator is charging you, the absolute worst thing your brain could do is sit there reasoning. What species is that? I wonder how fast it can run. Let me consider my options. No. In a true emergency, the deep survival brain shoves the slow thinker out of the driver's seat and takes the wheel itself. It wants you reacting, not pondering. Run, now, don't think. So when you stand up to speak and your survival brain has wrongly decided this is a life or death emergency, it does exactly what it was built to do. It pulls the plug on the careful, wordy, future planning part of you, the part that was holding your speech, and so the speech vanishes. You go blank. It feels like failure. It's actually your brain trying to save your life with a tool designed for sprinting away from things, just pointed at the wrong target. You didn't choke because you're weak. You choked because some part of you was bracing to flee a tiger that wasn't there. But the body has one more trick, and this one is so strange, so specific to us, that one of the greatest scientists who ever lived spent years puzzling over it. Watch your own face the next time it happens, or watch someone else's. The moment we feel exposed, embarrassed, caught, judged, the blood rushes up into our cheeks and our ears and our neck, and we turn red. We blush. More than a century and a half ago, Charles Darwin became fascinated by blushing. He called it the most peculiar and the most human of all our expressions. And he meant that almost literally. As far as we can tell, no other animal does this. Dogs don't blush. Apes don't blush. Just us. And think about how badly it's designed, if your goal is to hide your embarrassment. Blushing is the opposite of hiding. It's a giant red flag your own body raises that says, "Look, everyone, this person is mortified right now." You can't fake it, and you can't stop it. It happens to you, against your will, at the worst possible moment. So why on earth would we evolve a built-in feature that broadcasts our shame? The best answer scientists have is genuinely touching once you hear it. Blushing may be a peace signal, a way of saying sorry without words. Picture it back in the tribe. You've done something that broke a rule, or you've been called out, or you've embarrassed yourself in front of everyone. The group is staring. In that tense moment, your face flushes red, visibly, helplessly. And that redness says to everyone watching, I know I messed up. I'm not proud, I'm not defiant. I care what you think. I want to stay one of you. Please don't cast me out. Blushing is an appeasement. It's your body, all on its own, throwing itself on the mercy of the tribe. It's the most honest apology there is, because you literally cannot fake it. And that, the scientists think, is exactly why it works. It made the group more likely to forgive you. More likely to let you stay. Which means even your most embarrassing reflex, the hot red face you'd give anything to hide, is, at its root, a tool for staying inside the group, for not being exiled. The whole machine, top to bottom, is obsessed with one thing: keeping you in the tribe. Now, here's where it gets dark. Here's the part I promised you, the part that genuinely got under my skin. In survey after survey, for decades, when researchers ask people to list their biggest fears, public speaking doesn't just make the list, it climbs near the very top, above heights, above spiders, above flying. And famously, in some of these surveys, it ranks above death itself. People will say, in effect, that they're more afraid of standing up and speaking to a crowd than they are of dying. A comedian once pointed out how insane that is. He said it means that at a funeral, the average person would rather be the one in the casket than the one standing up giving the eulogy. When you first hear that, it sounds like a joke, or like people just don't understand the question. But now, after everything we've talked about, you understand it isn't a joke at all. It's the deep brain telling the truth as it sees it. Because to that ancient part of you, public failure in front of the group isn't ranked next to death by accident. To that part of you, it is a form of death. Being judged unworthy by the tribe and cast out was death. For almost everyone it ever happened to, for tens of thousands of years. Your survival brain learned that lesson so thoroughly over so many generations that it now sits up there in the wiring you were born with, and it genuinely cannot tell the difference between social rejection and dying. So when you stand up to speak, it doesn't just throw a little nervousness at you. It throws everything it's got, the full death grade alarm. Because as far as it knows, your life is on the line. That's the strange, dizzying truth at the bottom of stage fright. You're not afraid of words. You're not really even afraid of the eyes. You're standing at the edge of an ancient cliff, feeling the exact terror your ancestors felt at the threat of being thrown out of the only thing keeping them alive. You're just feeling it in a conference room. And I'll be honest with you, the first time I really understood this, it didn't comfort me. It made it worse for a second. Because it means the fear isn't a glitch you can debug. It isn't a flaw in you specifically. It's a feature. It's load-bearing. It's tens of thousands of years deep, and it is not going away. Not all the way, not for anyone. The most experienced speakers in the world, the actors, the leaders, the ones who do it for a living, they'll tell you the butterflies never fully leave. The wiring is permanent. So, if it never fully leaves, if you can't think your way past it, can't outgrow it, can't delete it, then what do you actually do with it? And here is where the whole story turns. Because the answer is not to fight the feeling. The answer is to understand what it's really made of. And what it's really made of will surprise you. Let's go back to your pounding heart for a second. That racing, that adrenaline, that shaking, that electricity in your chest. I want you to notice something. It is almost exactly the same set of feelings you get when you're excited. When you're about to ride a roller coaster you wanted to ride. When you're about to see someone you love walk through the arrivals gate. When you're about to open a gift you've been dying to open. Same pounding heart, same buzz, same fuel. The body doesn't actually have a separate machine for fear and for excitement. It has one machine, that revved up, lit up, fueled up state, and your mind slaps a label on it after the fact. Fear or excited. Same engine, different word. And researchers found something almost embarrassingly simple. When they took nervous people about to perform and instead of telling them the usual advice, calm down, relax, take deep breaths, they had them say out loud, just 3 words, I am excited. Those people did better. They felt more capable. They performed better. Because trying to force yourself from a racing heart all the way down to calm is like trying to slam the brakes on a speeding car. It fights the body. But racing heart to excited? That's a tiny step. Same energy. You just turned the label around. So that's the flip. The trembling in your hands isn't a sign that you're about to fail. It's your body handing you a tank of fuel and saying, Here, I made this for you. I think this matters. Let's go. The shaking is readiness wearing a scary mask. But the reframe goes deeper than a word trick. I want to leave you with the real thing. That fear you feel, standing up there, that desperate, full-body dread of being judged and rejected by the group. Strip away the discomfort for a second and look at what's actually underneath it. Underneath it is this: you care. You care profoundly what other human beings think of you. You care about being accepted, about belonging, about being one of the people, not cast out and alone. And that caring is not weakness. That caring is the single most human thing about you. It is the exact same wiring that makes you love your friends, that makes you ache when someone you care about pulls away, that makes you a member of a family, a team, a community at all. The reason it hurts so much to imagine the tribe turning against you is that you are built all the way down for belonging, for us, for together. The fear of speaking is just love for the group, felt from the inside, in the moment you're most exposed to it. And here's the thing nobody tells you, standing up there, sweating. The tribe in front of you, the eyes, the faces, they are not the predators your old brain thinks they are. Look at them. Really look the next time. Almost every person sitting in those chairs is quietly rooting for you. They've been where you are. They know the dry mouth and the wobble, and so they are not waiting for you to fall. They are leaning in, hoping you make it, ready to nod, ready to laugh, ready to be moved. The pack you're afraid of is almost always a pack that wants to take you in, not cast you out. You carry the tribe with you now. It's not a band of a few dozen anymore. It's everyone who ever loved you, everyone who taught you a word, everyone whose approval ever warmed you. And they didn't gather to watch you be exiled. They gathered to listen. So the next time you feel it, the slam of your heart, the dry tongue, the world narrowing to the eyes, I hope you'll remember what it actually is. It's not a sign that you're broken or weak or cowardly. It's the oldest part of you, the part that survived every winter and every predator and every danger across tens of thousands of years, sitting up and paying attention because it thinks this moment matters. Because, in its own confused, fierce, ancient way, it's trying to keep you safe and keep you loved at the same time. Every single person who has ever stood up to speak, going all the way back, the elder at the fire, the messenger before the chief, the kid in the front of the class, has felt that exact trembling. And so many of them spoke anyway. The trembling and the speaking, side by side. That's not the absence of courage. That is what courage actually looks like, every time, from the inside. You're not fighting your fear. You're shaking hands with a very, very old friend who is trying, clumsily, to look out for you. You can let it ride along and speak anyway. You know, it's wild how much of who you are right now was handed to you by people who lived and died thousands of years before you were born. The fear in your chest, the blush on your face, the pull you feel toward the group. It's all an inheritance, an instinct written in you before you ever had a say. And once you start seeing it everywhere, in why a stranger's stare on the back of your neck makes you turn around before you even know why, in why a yawn travels around a room like it's contagious, person to person to person, in why being ignored can hurt more than being insulted. There's a whole hidden machinery running underneath the most ordinary moments of your day, all of it left here by the ones who came before. So here's all I'll ask. The next time your body does something strange, something you can't quite explain, before you decide it means something is wrong with you, get a little curious instead. Ask what it's for. Ask how old it is. Ask who it kept alive long ago, so that you could be here to feel it. Because there's almost always a reason. And the reason is almost always more human and more tender than you'd ever expect.